Alright, Victorum Gaming fans and SPQR fans, we're back with another video in our series covering the talents for the heroes in the game. And this is basically for all of our, as it says here, Athenian, Spartan, Theban, and Macedonian players. So anybody who gets phalanx or access to phalanx, this is basically one of the tech trees you should certainly consider. So it's called Fortress of Spears. The phalanx was critical to the success of Greek armies, and this hero knows its value better than most. He understands that phalanx fights as a single unit, with every man protecting the soldier next to him, each relying upon another. These talents may only be selected by a hero from an Athenian, Spartan, Theban, or Macedonian warband, and may only be used if the hero, or if the unit the hero is leading is benefiting from the phalanx rule. So, and beyond that, it's a pretty, well, straightforward tech tree. It just goes in a single line, and some of these abilities do have certain requirements. So the first one's really cool, and is great that they actually put this first. It's called About Face. So with sharp orders and well-practiced drilling, the hero's unit moves with one mind. So long as the unit is not locked in close combat, every model in the unit may be turned to face a new direction. Every model must be turned to face the same direction and will not move any further with this action. The phalanx will not count as broken because of this movement for the rest of the turn, even if it has less than 5 models in its ranks. After the turn is complete, the unit must obey the normal rules for forming a phalanx, or the phalanx will be broken. So really cool ability to, if you've already moved into phalanx but you're about to get flanked, rather than spending time trying to break the phalanx, move, reform it. You can't necessarily do all that in one turn. This is just a nice way to surprise your opponent, basically, and get in the right position and still be in phalanx for that turn, which will maybe cause them to reconsider charging you. Now, you do have to, again, obey the rules for phalanx after the turn is over, otherwise the phalanx will break. So you... generally, if you're going to turn, you might not have that many models in the unit. But if you have a really large unit that's benefiting from phalanx and have them organized the right way, this can keep you in phalanx, and you can just kind of proceed with your movement after that in following turns. So really cool ability. Does give the phalanx units some flexibility, because that's usually their Achilles heel, is when they move into phalanx. Getting charged in the side or rear is usually what will ruin the day for you there. The next one's really cool too. You do have to have melee +2 or higher, which shouldn't be a problem. I think basically every single hero has that natively. So it's another melee action. So ordering the men of his phalanx to act as one, the hero initiates a giant united push that throws the enemy back and leaves them momentarily defenseless. The hero makes an opposed bravery check with an enemy unit he is in close combat with, and both sides add 1 for every 5 models they have involved in the combat. If successful, the hero drives the enemy back 1 inch. He and his unit immediately follow up to remain in contact. The combat is then resolved, but enemies who have been pushed back in this way may not use shields during the melee action. So it's really strong ability, gives you that big push, and then you just go in and actually get some work done there. So since the phalanx isn't necessarily going to be causing so much damage unless you have other abilities and stuff going on, they certainly should hit a lot, but again, there's nothing necessarily that's making them super deadly as far as like minuses to the opponent's armor or things like that. But here, being able to not deal with the opponent's shields at all for an action is really great. So if they're not using swords or anything else that would give them a parry, you've basically eliminated their ability to sort of deflect some of your attacks. And the more armor saves you put on people, eventually they're going to fail no matter how good they are. So that's a great ability, and also gives you the ability to start pushing them into only an inch at a time here, but you can start pushing them away from maybe an objective or something like that too. So really cool ability. The next one in line here is what they call Fight in the Shade. Very cool. So if anybody's like seen 300 or anything, you'll know that one. So Fight in the Shade is a special action. Seeing the enemy preparing to pepper his unit with arrows or stones, the hero orders his men to crouch and pull their shields in tight protection. Until the unit performs a new action, it will be able to reroll all armor checks made against shooting attacks. However, if it's engaged in close combat before it performs a new action, it'll suffer -2 to its melee checks for the first melee action performed it, and will automatically lose the benefits of phalanx. So if you're about to get hit with some nasty incoming missile fire, it's a great way to sort of turtle up. It's basically a testudo type of thing for phalanx units, although with some clear differences. And again, if you happen to get charged before you do some other action, that can actually be quite bad for you. but being able to reroll your armor is really strong. So most units that have phalanx will have a large shield too, so you're going to parry some incoming attacks, and then you get to reroll your armor on top of it, so really strong there. So that really should take care of most incoming missile fire. And then the last one is a passive ability, so it does take some time to get to this ability, but anytime you can get something like this, then passive is really cool. The hero and his unit have learned to act as one and can rapidly rotate the entire phalanx to face a new threat. Once per game, the hero may use the About Face talent immediately after an enemy unit completes an action within 12 without performing an action himself. So it's basically an upgraded version of the About Face, but you kind of interrupt the enemy and do that reform basically as they're getting close to you. So really nice ability, especially to surprise someone who thought they maybe are going to get a good charge off against a flank or your rear, and being able to just do that for free and interrupting their turn is super strong. So so definitely worth aspiring to go all the way in the tech tree if you're a heavy army, as far as or heavily in units that have options to do phalanx, and you're really trying to make use of phalanx. So certainly going all in here is really great. So that basically covers that one. And again, that one's called Fortress of Spears. So really cool stuff there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit us with a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, and then stay tuned for more.